On Tomorrow's World Today, we explore the cutting-edge advances that are shaping 4 different worlds. The world of inspiration, where the wonders of the natural world amaze and inspire us. The world of creation, where ideas come to life from traditional arts. The world of innovation, where ideas and inventions move us all forward. The world of production, where innovations are mass-produced to improve our lives. From Inventionland World Headquarters, here's your host, George Davison.
Hi everyone, I'm George Davison. You know, as our global population continues to surge, with projections reaching over 9 billion people by the year 2050, food scarcity and security concerns are becoming a more critical issue than ever. You see, 2 minerals, phosphate and potash, they're going to help us to produce 70% more food globally by the year 2050, while using only 90% of our existing agricultural lands. You see, phosphate helps us to enrich our soil and acts as a catalyst that's going to ensure that our crops receive the right amount of phosphorus for optimal growth. Potash, on the other hand, is commonly referred to as the regulator of crop nutrients, and it's the guardian of crop health, and it optimizes yields, quality, and resilience. Together, these 2 elements are crucial for farmers, and it's going to contribute to a sustainable and efficient farming practice. So I'm going to send Greg to the world of production, just outside Tampa, Florida, to explore how these 2 minerals are mined, and why we should have a newfound appreciation for the complex world that's beneath our feet.
There's an old saying in the mining industry that if something can't be grown, it has to be mined. And by and large, that's true. But today, we're going to put a fresh spin on that old adage and look at things that are mined to help things grow. I'm at the Mosaic Company's Four Corners mine in Florida to explore how they are sustainably and responsibly mining phosphate, one of the key ingredients in fertilizers that will help farmers feed our ever-growing population in tomorrow's world. Jody, the human population is on the rise. We're on track by the year 2050 to have over 9 billion people on planet Earth. So food scarcity, food security, these are issues that are going to be even more important then than they are now. And phosphate and potash are an important part of the solution.
They are. In fact, we're going to have to produce about 70% more food than we do today globally. And we're going to have to produce that on about 90% of the land that's already in production. And the way that we do that is with increased yields. And to get increased yields, we use fertilizer.
Okay, well that brings us here to Four Corners where you mine for phosphate. Tell me, how abundant is phosphate and how hard is it to get to?
It's not too difficult to get to. It's about 30 to 60 feet underground, so we surface mine it. We provide the North American market with about 2/3 of the phosphate fertilizer.
What's the role that phosphate plays in the fertilizer itself?
So phosphate helps the plant grow. It helps with a strong root system. It helps with photosynthesis, so getting the energy from the sun and converting that into food. It also helps to stave off disease.
So phosphate doesn't do this alone. It actually works hand in hand with potash, which you also produce.
We do. We make about 8 million tons of potash that we produce and sell around the world. Potash is similar to phosphate in that it helps with a strong and healthy root system. It helps plants fend off disease as well, but it also helps a plant use water more efficiently and helps a plant to deal with extreme temperatures.
Excellent. Well, what else do you have to show me down here?
I would love to show you our automated pit area. This is where we take phosphate rock and slurry it and send it through our pipeline to the beneficiation facility.
Excellent. Let's go take a look. So Jody, this is the slurry pit behind us.
It is, and these water guns operate at about 325 PSI. They're controlled by operators about 40 miles from here in our Integrated Operations Center.
That's amazing, and I'm hoping to get a look at that during my visit. But I want to change the subject a little bit and ask you about the 4R Nutrient Stewardship Program. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so this is something we're really excited about, where we work with farmers to ensure that they apply the right fertilizer at the right rate, at the right time, in the right place.
Okay, so when you say the right fertilizer, we're obviously talking about sustainable fertilizer. So what's the difference between a sustainable fertilizer and a regular old fertilizer?
So we do have specialty products. One of them is a micro essentials product. And the neat thing about this product is we have different sulfur molecules that activate in the plant at different times in the growing season.
So that would be a way to manage that area effectively. What are the advantages to that?
So potassium and phosphate are non-renewable resources. And so that means that we want to use them as efficiently as possible. So we're working with farmers during this for our nutrient stewardship program to ensure that we're using those fertilizers in the most effective way we can.
What are some of the consequences of not doing it the right way?
So if we sell a fertilizer and a farmer over applies it to their crop, that can move the nutrients away from the cropping system.
How is your outreach program with that? I mean, you've got to talk to the farmers and make sure that they are doing things the right way. How are you doing that?
We do work directly with farmers. We educate them, we work with local agronomist experts. We also like to work with the future farmers, so the FFA, Future Farmers of America, and 4-H clubs where we can teach future generations to farm sustainably.
That's great. Well, I know you've got some things you want to show me at Bartow, so why don't we head there now?
Sounds great.
At Four Corners, we learned about phosphate and potash mining and how important that is to farmers. Here at the Mosaic Bartow facility just outside Tampa, Florida, we're going to learn more about sustainable fertilizer production. So Jody, this is the finished product, but how does it get from the mine to this?
First, we make sulfuric acid. Then we take the sulfuric acid and we react it with the phosphate rock from the mine. That creates phosphoric acid. From there, we take the phosphoric acid and mix it with ammonia, and that creates diammonium phosphate.
And there's a bit of a chemical process that goes on with that then, isn't there?
Yes.
Whenever people hear the term chemical process, they think of some environmental issues. So let's talk about that a little bit. ESG, which stands for Environmental, Social, and Corporate Governance. What are the ESG targets that Mosaic has set for itself?
So this is something that makes me really proud to work for Mosaic. We have a target to reduce our fresh water usage by 20% by 2025 per finished product ton. We also have a goal to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by 20% by 2025.
How does that work within the regulations that are already in place for the mining industry?
We have local, state, and federal regulations. In fact, the Environmental Protection Agency could use our regulations in the state federally. Unfortunately, not all companies throughout the world are regulated the same way. So our environmental standards that we hold here are not necessarily held across the world, but we do feel it is important to make sustainable fertilizer for the world.
Right, and that works hand in hand with the reclamation that you have in place for land, water, and air.
That's right. So we reclaim every acre of land that we use at Mosaic. It's important to remember that when we mine, it's a temporary land use because of that reclamation. We have surface and groundwater monitoring programs as well.
Okay, well, I know you wanted to show me the IOC, so why don't we go take a look at that?
Sounds great.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for joining us all the way from Canada.
Hi, Ryan.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
So, Ryan, we're in the IOC, or the Integrated Operations Center. Tell me how the IOC is helping Mosaic achieve its sustainability goals.
The IOC is going to be an integral part of our company's fabric as we move forward and as we become more of a sustainable and safer company. Part of being sustainable is really being a safe, reliable operation. And part of why we're implementing IOCs across our company is IOCs bring together all the most recent information, all the real-time data that's going on throughout our entire facility, and allowing us to be making the most optimum decisions for not only our business needs, but also from an environmental and sustainability effort.
Have there been any difficulties integrating these new systems into an industry that has been around for a very long time?
There's always going to be challenges as you roll new technology out and you have to have it work with existing infrastructure. I think one of the bigger challenges as we do any kind of changes within our industry is how do we include our frontline workforce that the change is going to affect the most? And so that's one thing we've really tried to do is bring in our frontline workforce into the decision making up front. And so that as we roll out these changes, it's actually a better product for our frontline operators in our new world.
So as you move along through remote operation to semi-autonomous to fully autonomous, you're not significantly reducing your workforce. They're just working in different areas.
I think the exciting part is we have changed the way we do the work around our site. As we implement new autonomous machines, we are able to pull some of our frontline workforce away from those hazardous conditions, upskill their knowledge, and allow them to actually help run the machines via the automation and the control side. And so our workforce numbers have not changed, just the way we do the work has.
So Jody, what does it look like when you upskill an employee?
So upskilling is part of our automation strategy. So we can have an employee that starts as a laborer and they can go through the Mosaic apprenticeship program. They can become a mechanic or an electrical instrumentation and automation specialist.
Well, Ryan, can you give me an example of a job that was maybe traditionally done on site, but is now either done through remote operation or semi-autonomously?
Yeah, so I think a great example that's relatable across all of our sites really is valve operations, right? So historically, we've gone out into the field, turn on valves to adjust our flows, right? So now if we pull those into the IOC, we have those on automated systems where the valve can fluctuate based on its control scheme, and then it just requires our operator to observe and maintain the flow rates associated with that change.
What do you think this is going to look like in the future, and how soon do you think you may be able to move to fully autonomous operation?
Yeah, I think as I look at automation, in the context of Mosaic, it's really going to be continuous iterations, and there's really three forms of automation we'll continue to look at. I think you have remote control, you have semi-autonomous, and then you also have fully autonomous. And I think we'll continue to explore all three of those areas and advance as much as possible as that technology evolves with our business needs.
Ryan, thanks for your time. We're going to head out now and check out the rest of the IOC.
Well, thank you very much, and have a safe day.
Bye, Ryan. Well, Greg, welcome to our Mining Integrated Operations Center. And we have Aaron here. He's our Senior Operations Manager at the IOC. Hi, Aaron.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Aaron, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So give me a quick overview of this high-tech wonderland that you're running here.
Yeah, so this is the Florida Mining Integrated Operations Center. This is the tactical hub for our day-to-day operations for 3 of our mining facilities in Florida. Our Four Corners facility, South Fort Meade facility, and Wingate facility.
So the slurry pit that we were at in Four Corners, that's about 40 miles from here, and you're actually running it from this location.
Yeah, so we operate all the locations at Four Corners and South Fort Meade from this location. Historically, those were operated on site. Back in 2020, we transitioned over here to run remotely.
Well, what are the chances I can jump in one of these chairs and give it a run?
Sure, no problem. Go ahead.
Thanks a lot, Aaron.
Yep.
So this is actually the slurry pit from Four Corners that we saw previously.
That's right. So you can move the screen down on your left there. And these joysticks are just like regular joysticks. So you have 2 guns on the left and right, and you just move them right, left, up, down. And your goal here is to turn the phosphate rock into a slurry that we can send to our beneficiation facility.
What's it being mixed with to turn it into this slurry?
Right, so we've got those high pressure water guns, and we've got phosphate rock and clay and other rock that we will remove in the beneficiation process.
So basically the slurry that we're making here is going to go through this pump system and more or less get washed and turn it back into just ore.
That's right. So you, along with the other pit operators here, will process tons of product a day that we send to be further processed in the fertilizer production facilities.
That is amazing. This is some pretty advanced technology, but I want to learn some more about the future of mining, so why don't we get on out of here? Well, Judy, let's talk about advanced technologies. What are some of the cutting-edge breakthroughs that are changing the mining industry?
Yeah, so we're really excited about so many technologies here at Mosaic. We have condition-based monitoring, and this is a way that we can proactively monitor our rotating assets for things like vibration. We have a steam optimization system. So we used machine learning to develop the program, and now it gives our operators a notification if they need to tweak the system for more efficiency. We have a crystallization circuit in one of our operations, and there's an automated freshwater addition, and we've been able to use machine learning to optimize this as well, so it's great for sustainability.
One of the goals with sustainability is getting more out of a particular mine or a particular plot of land. How are these technologies helping you do that?
So one of the future technologies for phosphoric acid that we talked about earlier that makes fertilizer, that could be further purified to use in batteries, for example, for electric vehicles. We also have byproducts, and one of those is phosphogypsum, or PG. There are over 20 countries around the world that use PG. They use it for bases for roadways, they use it for reforestation, and also for rare element extraction.
You know, along with that, are you using, say, maybe drone technologies and things like that to explore places where you would traditionally either have to send someone in or could not go?
Yeah, that's another great question. So if we're working for wetland conservation, for example, if there's an area that's a little bit hard to get to, we'll use drone technology for that. We have many, many miles of pipeline as well. So we'll program the drones to fly over the pipeline so we can test those. So really exciting opportunity with drone technology.
With all of this information technology systems being put together and robotics and drones, it sounds like there are a lot of jobs in the mining industry that weren't there before.
One of the great things about the mining industry is there's jobs we've had for decades, and we'll continue to have those types of jobs for decades to come. But we also have more jobs. So we've got data analytics, we've got machine learning, and it's not just about the jobs per se, it's also about having all different kinds of people working in Mosaic within the mining industry. So one of the things that I'm really excited about with Mosaic is we have employee inclusion networks. We actually have 6 of them. So those networks encourage people to bring their whole self to work. So we've got veterans networks, women's network, we have race and heritage, diverse abilities, we've got pride, we've got generation. And the point of those networks is to make people feel included. And so when people feel included, they can be more creative, they can be more collaborative. Those aren't the only qualities we're looking for. We're looking for people who are interested in change and working hard. We work hard around these mine facilities, but they are changing all the times because we have so much innovation. And if we have people that are interested and willing to change along with us, that's great. We'll also teach them. So we'll have employees that can come in and learn through Mosaic, through the programs that we talked about earlier. So it's just a really exciting place to work and a really exciting industry to be in right now.
That's excellent. Well, this has been really great. I appreciate you taking the time. It's been a great visit. I've got to get back to Invention Land, so will you show me out?
Let's go.
Hey, Sarah. Welcome to Invention Land.
Hi, George. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us.
What did you bring?
So these are very cool. They're shark's teeth that we find when we're mining phosphate in Florida. And the reason that we have potash and phosphate is because millions of years ago there was oceans, and these were left behind by the prehistoric animals that used to swim in those oceans. So when we mine in Florida, we find these, and I brought some here for Invention Land.
They're huge.
They are, and when we find these, we often give them to schools or museums so that kids can learn about prehistoric animals.
Oh, that's great. You know what? If I can keep them, I'll put them in our museum when the kids are coming through.
We would love for you to keep them.
Well, thank you. And so, I love to talk about the future. So can you talk a little bit about where the industry and Mosaic's going?
We are going to be taking the phosphate
Okay.
and further processing it to make a component called purified phosphoric acid, and it's actually put into electric car batteries.
Really? So what you were mining before and adding to our food source for making better food, to now helping with the EV market?
Absolutely. Fossils from millions of years ago are helping us pave the way for the future.
I love it. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks so much.
And remember, tomorrow's world is where inspiration and creation drive innovation in production. See you next time.